Hey, so I have a story for you. Um, so when I was a kid, I started playing this video game called RuneScape. You might have heard of it. Um, I got pretty into it. I ended up starting to play like 1 or 2 hours a day, but it wasn't that weird because I up until that point I would watch TV or something for 1 or 2 hours a day. So it was just kind of substituting in the video game for TV, and that was kind of normal for kids. Most kids watch at least 2 hours of TV a day when I was a kid, and I think most people nowadays still do. So I didn't think it was a problem to just play the video game. Um, yeah, but there every once in a while there was a part of me that really wanted to be productive and get things done. And I'm a musician, so I want to make music, and I did have lots of time. Again, it was only 2 hours a day. There's still another 22 hours for everything else. So I got lots of stuff done. I did a lot of work. I didn't think it was a big problem, but every once in a while I did try to quit the video game, and I did. Um, but I always went back to it. I think I quit it like 3 or 4 times and went back to it. And then even when I wasn't playing the video game, I was doing something else, watching TV or watching YouTube videos or something like that. Um, and then a few years ago, I was back playing the game, and then I had this experience at a festival. Um, it was an outdoor music and dance, community-oriented festival with great food and great people, and an amazing experience there. And I noticed that when I was there, I had no desire to play the game at all. It seemed kind of stupid to want to play this like fake game when like real life is right here and it's amazing. It's like music and dancing and amazing people and amazing conversations and just so much fun and meaningful and real. And it was like the video game didn't make sense at that point. So when I got home from the festival, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm quitting. I'm never going to play this video game again. I'm going to keep this feeling that I had at the festival, this connected community, joyful feeling. I'm going to keep that as I go throughout my normal life, and then I won't want to play the video game anymore. And then about a week after that, I got Netflix. And I hadn't had Netflix before that, so I got Netflix because I don't know, I was thinking I needed some way to relax, and seemed pretty harmless, and I thought there's some good TV shows on Netflix. Maybe I'll be able to receive this art that people are making, and it'll be great. And so I got Netflix, but then I noticed I was watching Netflix for that same kind of 2 hours a day that I used to play the video game. And I also noticed, well, maybe I didn't notice it at the time, but in hindsight, it felt the same as playing the video game. It was like a need, like a compulsion. Like when I got home from work, I would rush in kind of like not a happy, but like an angry rushing, like I need to get on Netflix and watch the show now because I need to relax or something. And I thought I needed this in order to relax, but it never really worked. Like I never really relaxed. Like it's not a good way of relaxing, watching a TV show with any kind of violence or any kind of interesting plot. Like it's stimulating your brain. It's not relaxing, right? But I thought I needed this and to relax, but it never worked. And so I noticed that I was watching a lot of Netflix. So I was like, okay, now I have to delete Netflix. So I did. And then this game called 2048 came out, and some of you might remember that one too. It's a super simple puzzle game that I thought, there's no way I'm gonna play this game for 2 hours a day. It's like the super simplest game that I could think of. Like, I'll get bored of it after a while. So like, there's no harm in giving it a try. And then like a couple months later, I'm playing 2048, 20 hours or 2 hours a day while listening to podcasts or something like that. So I was like, okay, now I gotta quit 2048. Yeah, I think I might be the best 2048 player in the world, and that's not a good thing. So I quit that, and then I started like watching YouTube videos or something for 2 hours a day. And again, it felt the same. It was this compulsion, this need to relax, but not really relaxing. And it was like, I needed it, and I knew it didn't work, but I still felt that I needed it. And then I quit YouTube, and then I started playing online chess or something like that. And it just kept going. And then I realized the pattern, and I was like, I gotta quit everything. I gotta quit, and I gotta make sure that I don't find another thing that's the same thing in a different form to get addicted to. And so I was like, okay, I'm quitting everything. I'm quitting all video games, no matter what they are, no matter how simple they are. All YouTube videos, podcasts, TV, movies, things like that. But then I thought, well, there are some things on YouTube that I really enjoy watching. Like tutorial videos or videos about music or something, because I'm a musician. Or maybe I could watch that, or maybe I could watch lectures if I'm learning something really important. I could do that, or maybe I could listen to podcasts because they're educational, and I can justify that. So I said, okay, I'll quit everything except these things that I think are still important to me. So I did that for a while. I only watched YouTube videos that I could justify that they were good for me, and podcasts that I was learning a lot from. And then I kind of got into a little routine of that, and I was doing that for the same 2 hours a day still. And it still kind of felt the same. Like, I would get home and I was like, I need to put on a lecture to watch, or else like I just need this, or else I don't know what, but I need this lecture right now. And I was like, well, it's okay because I'm learning something. Like, this is a great lecture, so it's fine. So that went on for a while, and then, YouTube has the recommended videos in the sidebar. Well, I was watching a lecture, and the lecture finished, and there's a video in the sidebar I thought would be funny, and I was like, well, I'm going to be here for the next 10 minutes. I have to go somewhere in 10 minutes. I'm not going to do anything else in that 10 minutes. This video is 10 minutes long. There's no harm in watching this video. I'm going to go somewhere after. It'll be harmless. And I did. And watched the video. It was harmless. I didn't go on a binge. I just watched the one video and went to the thing I had to go to. Pretty harmless. And then I thought, okay, maybe I don't have this addiction anymore. Maybe I can just watch whatever I want. I didn't. It was slowly. Like, maybe I make one exception a day. Like, okay, one funny video a day. And then the exceptions just, the bar kept lowering, and I just pretty soon, gradually, so I didn't notice, I wasn't regulating my YouTube at all. I was just watching anything. And podcasts too. And then I was watching a podcast one day, and because this whole thing, it's about distraction. I think it's about being distracted from the present moment, like boredom. Like, what is boredom? It's the idea that the present moment is somehow unbearable or bad for some reason. And I think it has to do with avoiding your own thoughts or avoiding your feelings or avoiding something like that. But it's about distraction. So the podcast was going, and I had this compulsion to do something while listening to the podcast. Like, the podcast wasn't distracting enough. It's like it's not enough to have one beer. You need like 4 beers or like 10 beers to get drunk, if you're an alcoholic. It's like the podcast wasn't enough. So I was like, okay, what's the most boring video game I can think of? I'll play that. I won't get addicted to it because it's the most boring thing ever. I'll only play it while listening to a podcast that I think is important. So I started playing Mahjong, which is the most boring thing I can think of. And I got addicted to it. I played it while listening to podcasts, and then when the podcast finished, I kept playing it. I just wanted to beat the game. Like, there was a bunch of different levels in the game. I wanted to beat the game. I wanted to beat Mahjong. Oh man. Sitting in silence alone in my room, just like clicking away on Mahjong. Oh. And then, okay, so that happened, listening to podcasts, playing Mahjong. And then I get an email from RuneScape, that game that I originally got addicted to, that game that I originally quit when I got home from the festival. They were releasing their video game for mobile phone. And I was like, oh no, I want to do that. But I didn't. I didn't do it at first. And then, of course, Google knows that I'm addicted to RuneScape, right? So I got inundated with ads for this mobile app, this RuneScape mobile app. On Instagram, on Facebook, all the ads. And eventually, it was late at night. I was playing Mahjong or something, and I was like, I went on Instagram and saw the ad for RuneScape Mobile, and I was like, well, I'll just try it out, just once. Oh, this is funny. Just once. Okay, so you know what happened. I got addicted again. I started playing a couple hours a day. RuneScape. The obsessive, I need this in order to relax thing again, and it not being relaxing, and I would play, and I was really, like, I had goals in the game, like I needed to play to reach these in-game goals, and and I would play when I woke up in the morning, and I would play too late at night to the point where I wasn't sleeping as much as I wanted to, and so then I was like, okay, this is a problem. So I gotta do something about it. I've tried to quit many times, and it didn't work. So what am I gonna do now? Well, I tried this. I tried to feel the full effect of what playing the video game felt like to me while I was playing it. So I would play it and I would be more mindful. Like instead of being stuck like in thinking about the game and stuck in these thoughts like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Just noticing like everything. Like I'm in my room. It's late at night. What I'm doing is I'm clicking this thing on my laptop and these buttons. And I'm just being mindful of that. And how does that feel to just sit in my room and compulsively click these buttons? And that didn't feel good at all. I was like, this is pointless. These are just pixels. I'm not doing anything. I'm not getting anything done. I'm not feeling good. It's not making me happy. I'm just compulsively doing this. And I noticed that, but I still kept doing it. Like, I knew it wasn't making me relax. I knew it wasn't good for me. It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. But I still kept doing it. So, after a while of doing that, I was just like, this isn't working. I just have to quit. For real this time. Like, for real this time. And I started noticing the parallels between that video game addiction and drug addiction. So, like the relapse, all of it, it's so similar to what I've heard about drug addiction. Like, I personally am not addicted to drugs. I don't have that substance addiction tendency, and I don't want to minimize the experience of those people, because there's a lot of people who, like, drugs ruin their life, and it's really bad. The video game thing for me wasn't that bad. It's just a couple hours a day. I still had a job. I still got lots of stuff done. Like, I've been recording albums this whole time, like writing songs. Like, I do things. It doesn't ruin my life, but it's still this little problem here. So I started looking at, well, how do drug addicts get sober? And one of the things they do is they just commit to 100% abstinence. No exceptions. So, and that applies to any drug. Like, if you're an alcoholic or if you're addicted to heroin, like, you don't do any other drugs. If you're addicted to heroin and that's your big problem drug, you don't drink alcohol, because that, if you're an addict, like, any drug can be a gateway drug. So for me, being a video game addict, like, a podcast is a gateway drug, because it's another form of distracting myself with digital entertainment. So, yeah. So I started to realize I just have to go 100% abstinent on all digital distractions. Yeah. And the other thing to realize is, once you're an addict, you're kind of always an addict. Like, no matter how long you've been sober, you can always relapse. So there's no, like, oh, I haven't played a video game in a year. Maybe I can go back and play online chess and it'll be fine. Probably not true. For me anyway, I think it won't be fine. Like, it'll just lead right back to, I mean, maybe eventually, once I deal with the root cause of the addiction, which maybe I'll talk about in a bit, maybe I could go back and do some things, like listen to podcasts, but I have to be very careful about that, because it could lead right back to playing video games. So I'm going to try to quit again, and I think it's going to work this time. Because I'm not making any exceptions. No YouTube videos, no podcasts. Like, I've lost my podcast privileges. No video games at all, no TV, no movies. No exceptions. And so the gradual slippery slope won't even start. So if I start listening to podcasts, that can start a gradual slope down back to video games. But I'm not even going to start, so it won't happen. And the other thing I think is going to help is that I'm telling people about this now. I've already told a couple people who I know will keep me accountable, and now I'm telling you. So now I'm hoping being embedded in a community of people who know that I'm doing this will help. And I know that people who are getting sober from drug addiction experience the same thing. Many of them have to go to meetings, Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and they need the community of support there. So that's another reason I think this will work. And then the third, and I think the most important reason, is I'm going to try to find the root cause of this addiction. And that's a bit of a long story, but what I'm going to do is, when I feel that desire to play the video game, which I feel like right now, I'm going to feel it and kind of meditate on it. I'm going to meditate and dig into that desire to play the video game and ask, where does that come from? And what is the thing that the video game is distracting me from, right? Because it's about distraction. And I think most addictions come from some kind of pain, emotional pain inside you that you're trying to distract yourself from. And so I'm not going to distract myself from that anymore. I'm going to seek it out and feel it. And I think that will work. If not, I'll have some extra meditation every day, and that's fine too. I've been meditating every day for a couple of years now, so I think I have the tools to do this. Yeah, I think that's it. And I hope this is helpful to people. I mean, not everyone has a video game addiction, but I know a lot of people are addicted to social media or Twitter and Facebook, and I know lots of people are on Netflix all the time, and maybe they don't want to be, and they just are. I don't know, maybe lots of people are on Netflix all the time and they don't see it as a problem, and maybe that's fine too, but I mean, I would encourage those people to think about that. Like, is it really not a problem? Like, could you quit? Like, if you could easily quit, then why don't you quit? Why don't you read books or do that thing that you've been wanting to do, or spend time with people, or go outside? Like, why are you on Netflix? So, I don't know, something to think about. I really wanted to tell this story. So thank you for listening, and good luck.